Hello, I'm Mehmet Sionik of the University of Leuven in Belgium, and this is the video that is part of the ID Exchange proposal allow for consistent customizations in the new UI. The new UI is actually an Angular 1 application written using Angular 2 conventions and styles thanks to the ng metadata toolkit. In other words, the toolkit allows one to use TypeScript, as you can see, and Angular 2 to write Angular 1 applications, and this will hopefully make it easier to upgrade to Angular 2 in the future. Why did Exlibris do this, you might wonder? Well, Angular 2 at the moment, when they started development of the new UI, wasn't ready, and this was a safer way of creating the new UI and make it more future-proof. But as a developer, I am not that sure if this was actually a good idea. Let me explain. The new UI is meant to be extended. That was the whole concept when development started. Most directives, as you can see, here we have one, the icon directive, have an after element. And this is a place where you can hook your own components into. You can even reference other components that people made from your component, which is actually cool. Exlibris also provides a development environment where you can create, test, and package your components. But nevertheless, your components are written using Angular 1 with plain old JavaScript, being ECMAScript 5 or ECMAScript 6, and this could be a problem. When it is finally time to move to Angular 2, your components will have to be migrated and possibly rewritten. Angular 1 and Angular 2 are completely different worlds. You can create two types of components. One type that does not use anything from system, like search help, for example, or library opening hours. And the other one, or the other type, is a component that does use elements from the system. And you would really like to know how this API looks like that you can access to answer questions like who is using the system. If you want to, for example, add a feedback button and take the email from the user to send it off to your help desk, or if you want to create a pay my fines button that only appears if the user has fines. So you probably also would like to know where he's located. Is he on campus, off campus? Maybe you want to give the user more services if he's on campus. And you might also be interested in what he is looking for or what did he find, so his result set. Unfortunately, there is no documentation that describes this API. Applications created with Angular have an API that is made out of services and factories, and the idea is that you can selectively inject these into your components. But in reality, we attach our new components to a hook that is offered in an existing component written by Exlibris, and these services and factories aren't injectable by us developers. This makes you dependent on the services that are available in the parent component. Let me show you what I mean. So if we reload the environment in debug mode and wait for it to load, and then start up the UI. So this is the Primo Explorer. Let's reload all components which are on screen, and if we look at, for example, the search element, you will see certain services that are being defined within the component. And if you look at the hook that we can use, the after element, you also see certain search elements, search services, and other services in here. But the problem that I have is this is the search component, but if we, for example, would go to facets, you will see that there are different services in here. So services are context based. So if we come back to my explanation before, components created by Ex Libris have services and factories injected into them, and this creates a scope. Every component has its own ecosystem, as you will. The ecosystem will prevent you from asking the who, what, where questions from every other component that you create. This is also the reason why it is difficult to get started with creating new components. A better way to help developers is to have a pure data only model that is framework agnostic, as you will. Make an abstraction of the Angular services that have been defined and expose them globally. This way everybody can develop within the reach of their skill set. So I have tried to create a model for a user, for example. And then this console, let's lock this. So what you'll see here is that I am not logged in at the moment. But if I would sign in, and if I would ask the same question again, I would get a clear data structure that lets me use these elements from within my component. The same would go to view data. Here you see that I can look up the IP address that I'm connected from. And the same goes for record information. Where you can go and check out the PNX record. Same for facets. These are the resource types, and so on and so on. So we are starting this IDs exchange proposal, and there is a proof of concept for a simple API, as you will, ready. If you're interested in this, and if you want to help us realize it together with Ex Libris, then please vote. Thank you.